Hey guys, Long Haul Larry, and we are working on Tracy's wedgie. Some reason she calls it a wedgie. Why do you call it a wedgie?
Because that's the name Nugget and I came up with for it.
That's the name that her granddaughter came up with it. Guys, remember I've done some work on this car. Brakes, brand new. Everything's brand new. We were trying to pinpoint this noise and everything else. And now we believe it. The rear end is bad. I wouldn't call it a rear end because most rear ends you have a solid axle that goes across. This is an all-wheel drive, so it has small little axle shafts that go into, I would call it a transfer case almost, kind of. The front seal on it was blown out, and there was oil all up underneath there. I checked it, and there was no oil in there, and full of metal fragments and stuff. So I went to a salvage yard, found another one that has, I believe, 37,000 he said it had on it. And so we're gonna throw that in there. So first thing I did is I jacked the car up as high as I can get to it. Would love a lift. Just saying, Christmas gift.
Gotcha.
They're only at $3 grand. So a lift would be awesome. This would make this so much easier. But I'm gonna have to make do with what I got. I got it jacked up as far as I can, and I have my jack stands up in front of the wheel, and I have them up there on the frame itself, so it's all out of the way and it's supporting it. And I can't really go any higher because every time I jack up a little bit higher, the wood blocks, I'll start tipping stuff. So that's about as high I'm gonna get. So basically what we gotta do is take the brakes apart. I got all the wheels off here. And so we gotta take the brake calipers off and get them out of the way. So there's this, I've done brakes before, but there's two bolts on the back of here. And those two bolts, they will loosen those up, and then the whole caliper will come off in one piece. So the thing that you can do when you're doing this, I'm not going to be doing brake pads, not going to be pulling it apart, is you can actually take a piece of cardboard like this, kind of fold it up, and you get it about the size of the rotor itself. And then when you pull this off, you can just kind of slip it up in between the brake pads like that, and it keeps everything in place so nothing falls apart. So then when you go to put this back on, you just pull the cardboard out and it'll slip right back over top. You don't have to mess around, do everything. And I don't have to mess around and doing all this stuff. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wrap this up here with a bungee cord. It's up and out of my way. Like so. So the wedgie will be missing parts.
Oh boy.
Oh boy. It already started.
Oh. Yeah, as long as we don't have a lot left over.
Yeah, I might have a few left over. So there we go. So now, this is a 32 millimeter. Put that there. Gotta pull the axle nut. That there's off. So basically, what I'm gonna have to do is try to get a puller on here and pull this off. Tracy's notifying me the camera's getting low. But I gotta get a wrench here. They actually make one like this. This is a harmonic balancer pulley. And what it does is it has, instead of being flat like this, it has a step down. It comes out, and those will actually fit over the top of this. I don't have one. I can't believe I didn't have one, and I ran out of town. I couldn't find one. So what I'm gonna do is use a 3-jaw puller and put this on here like so, and then pull it. So I'll have to bring you guys back later. Well, guys, I finally got that wheel bearing off. The axle's just sitting in there. All I gotta do is take a pry bar and put it up against the rear axle transfer case, whatever you want to call it, and just pop it out. It's just held in there with a clip. But you can see this thing right here. Right here is the wheel bearing. And you can see this surface right here is what is inside of that hub there. And this thing was so rusted in there, so corroded, it would not come in. I tried everything in my book. I mean, I tried everything. I tried threading a bolt. You know, I took all the 4 bolts out in the back, and they should just pull out. But, you know, they're rusted in there. It's Wisconsin. And so I put a bolt in the back, and I threaded it in and left it about a quarter way out. And then I have an adapter that goes into an air hammer, and it has a 1/2 inch for a 1/2 inch socket on it. And I put it on that thing. I sat there beating on that thing forever. Had 2 bottom ones. I sat there just going back and forth, back and forth. I actually broke my adapter twice, and I had to re-weld it back together. Just, it wouldn't come. And I took a chisel, and you can see up on top here, I took a chisel and tried to pound a chisel down in there to get some kind of gap going, and I kept spraying penetrating fluid. And I finally heated the hub up on this side over here, because there's a sensor that's over here. And I heated it up over there. And what I actually ended up doing was using my push-pull. That thing right there. It's like a hydraulic jack or whatever. You can put all different attachments. And I used this like pinch thing here. And I stuck one end up against inside here. And I stuck the other against the bearing. And I sat there and just put all the pressure I could on there, and I heated it at the same time. And then I got a little small gap over here, and I was able to get a chisel in. And I started pounding the chisel, and it started working loose. And I worked the chisel over here and worked it all down. And finally, it just, boom, it popped off. I mean, I've done a lot of wheel bearings in my life. I have never had this issue. And I've been on YouTube looking on there, and guys are just like, yep, just put the 4 bolts out and pop straight out. You know, these guys are in like Arizona and California and stuff. They don't have salt and everything. But this thing here, I've had some hard ones, but this one, holy cats. And when I saw it was being so tough, I actually went online, and I saw on there, I went on to Advanced Quick, and they actually had, ran in there, and I got 2 brand new wheel bearings. They were pretty expensive, but I just thought I was going to have a lot of problem. And so I'm actually done for the night. I got to get this side off. This is my next big one. And I got to give up. I just can't do this anymore. I'm worn out. And so I got this one all ready to go to start working on this side and everything. And I gotta get this side off, then I can pop the axles. And what I'm going to do is just, I've already sprayed it like half an hour ago with penetrating fluid. And I got my puller sitting on there, putting a bunch of tension on it. And I'm gonna squirt it down a couple more times before I go in. And I'm just gonna see if this penetrating fluid will soak into there tonight. Maybe with this tension, maybe it'll get in there and get down in there. Maybe it'll do something. If it doesn't, well, I'll be back to beating on this thing tomorrow. Well, guys, we're back for day number 2, and I've been spraying this thing a couple times before I went in last night. And then this morning I got up and sprayed it again. I had to run and get some propane for heat for this place. I ran out last night. And it has not budged. It's had this puller on here, putting force on it all night long. Has not budged, so I'm thinking this one's not gonna go either. But we're gonna try a couple things. What it has 4 bolts on the backside that come in through the backside. And these are the bolts right here. I've pulled all the bolts, but then I have put in the bottom 2 bolts back in. And then what I try is I have this little attachment, and I've actually broken it like 3 times. Working on the other side. I'm going to give it a try. But what I did is I welded it back together. And basically it's a bit that goes into a air hammer gun. And it has a deal on it that you can hook a socket onto it. And then what happens is you just put it over the bolts. See, like, this is a bolt here. And it sits there and just wraps on it. And I have those bottom bolts threaded in, so the threads go all the way through. But the head is about a 1/4 inch away. And I'm just going to sit there and wrap on it. And see if I can get this thing punched out. Maybe soaking all night long. Maybe some of that penetrating fluid got down in there, and it'll loosen it up. Well, that didn't work, so now we move on to the next part. Whoa, 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 what's going on here? Don't even tell me I blew this. Yeah, I'm about wrecking every tool on this car. Blew it out. I put so much pressure on it, and on the other side I guess it blew it out. It is coming finally. Woo! It's coming. I got a little bit of a gap. Ta-da! Hoy! That is unbelievable. It looks like my sensor's still there and okay. Feels like. Alrighty, now we need to remove the axles. And it's pretty simple. Just take a pry bar. You need to start working it around and just pushing off. The one thing you want to be careful of is that sensor out there. You want to make sure it slides past there, just like that. You guys didn't see that, but it's on the other end. Here's the axle on. Don't want to bump into those sensors. Now we can set this axle over here. And I'll just do the same thing for the other side. Alright, so we got the axles both out. So now it's pretty simple. You guys can see all the oil up there. See how it's all wet? All up there. That's because that's where it's been leaking out. It's been spraying all the oil out up there. I've been dumping oil in as I go. But this sway bar right here has got to go. And right up here, there's 2 bolts. And then there's a pivot point over here. And so I just got to take those 2 bolts out. That'll take that mount off. And there's 2 bolts over on the other side. And that the whole thing should just pivot right down out of the way. And then, pretty simple, there's just 2 bolts up here. I know it's kind of dark. It looks like there's 3 bolts on this bracket on this side, and then 2 bolts on the front on each side. And I also have to remove the drive shaft. It's just 4 bolts up in the drive shaft. You just loosen them up, and the drive shaft will then just fall down, and then this whole thing will just drop out. And there is also a wire harness too. There's a wire harness that is on top of it that is plugged in, and I have to unplug before I drop it. Otherwise, all right. Rear axle differential, what do we want to call it, is out. This is the old. This is the new. Got this here from Diamond Auto Parts in Fond du Lac. Fond du Lac. Fluid Warner. Fluid Warner. I'm tired. Fluid warning. Unit is empty. Yes. Gotcha. That's just their phone and stuff. Okay. So, what we're going to do is, I went out and bought all brand new seals. It doesn't look like this one leaked at all. There's no oil residue like this one here. You can see it's all covered with stuff. Doesn't look like it leaked at all. But if you're going to go through all this trouble and put it back in, you should probably put some new seals in there. The one problem that I had was Ford. I went directly to Ford and got all the seals for it. And they couldn't tell me which seal goes in here. They said there's 2 options and you won't know until you pull it out. And these are the 2 options right here. There's 2 different options right here. That's the part number for one of them. And this is the part number of the other one. So I just bought 2 of each. Because there's one here and one over here. They said they're different sizes. Something like 33 and 38 millimeter or something. I don't know. Something like that. And I can tell you already, it's this one right here. And the reason why is because it's got this big rubber lip on it. And that's what this one has. And the old one has the same thing. These other ones do not have that rubber lip sticking out. And the messed up thing is, one of these was $47 and the other one was $13. And you know which one we have to use. So, whatever. And then I'm going to also put a new pinion seal in it too. I had to run all the way to Oshkosh to get this one. But I could have replaced this in the car, but you know, let's get it done one now. It's, like I said, it's not leaking, but hey. Just put everything new in it, that way you don't have to, no, wait, somebody's not bothering me. So I pull the nut off of there. Probably if you read a Ford manual, it'll say, do not use an impact wrench to remove that nut. Just so you know.
You read a manual?
I glanced at manuals in my life. I didn't get past that grade in school to actually read. And if you read instructions on pulling, it'll tell you, do not use the impact wrench. Go. So now I just got this here seal to pull out. Yep. Yep. This is the one. Oh yeah. Alright, so to put these back in, it's pretty simple. We need to get something that is big. You want it to be the same size as this outer ring, something to put on here that you can tap on. Put it in. A big socket probably would be the trick. Too big. I got some more up in the other garage. But basically, a piece of pipe would work too. But this is just a little too big. But you need something that is the same diameter here. I got some other sockets up in the top, up in the garage up there. And you just want it to be put on there. And take a little bit of emery cloth and clean up the surface in here. There's like almost like a bead of silicone around here, and that's what seals it. And you just kind of put it on there and push it on, and it'll kind of get started and it's kind of stick. And then you just put this on the outside of it, whatever you're going to use, piece of pipe, whatever, and just tap, tap, tap until it's flush mounted. Pretty simple. And tip it over and pull the drain plug on it. In the back here, I'm going to pull the plug and then tip it over top of the bucket just to flush anything out of there. And then we are ready to start. Then ready to put real insulation. I do have to run. Let's see, these two up here, these threads over here on this side, there's 3, it's these over here. On this unit, they're all threaded, all nice and clean. The bolts up here, the threads are all good and clean. The top 2 over here are not. And I'm hoping it's just like dirt or something. I think they are just dirt. Yeah, so I'm just gonna run this in and I'm gonna put some lube up in there. And I'm just gonna run this in and also it'll be a lot easier to thread it in when it's up in there. Now, so this side goes right in. So it looks like the 2 mounting points on this are up here. So I'm just gonna spray a little lube in there. It goes in, but it's just crunchy and stuff. So I'm just gonna do that, run it in and out a few times to clean up the threads. I can run a tap in there too, but I think it'll be fine. Just, I think they maybe had it tipped on that side. So some plates got some dirt in. So that's what we're gonna do is flush this out, clean those threads up, and then put her back up in there. All right, guys, I'm gonna be putting this back in. You can see all the oil, how it's flying out that front seal there. I am not going to be trying to clean all that up. I'm just gonna tell Tracy to get a car wash. She likes to keep her car clean, so she loves car washes. But I'll tell her to get an undercarriage, and that'll take care of most of that. But we're gonna start putting this thing back in there, and here we go. All right, we are ready to go here. So like I said, I can use the sway bar as an extra helping hand. And just like that. And I can just get 1 bolt. Started there. There we go. Alrighty. Got the drive shaft back in. Now we can put our sway bar back. Just like so. There. So before I go putting those axles in here, this is where those bearings were hung up so badly. So what I need to do now is sand all this out get this all down to nice bare metal and everything. I'm gonna put a coat of paint on here where I heated this, so this does not rust. And just clean up the surface and do the same thing the other side. Then the axle will come in. But you have to make sure that you're real careful. You see where my thumb is there? See that little tang thing that jumps on? That's the speed sensor. It's basically traction control, ABS, all that stuff. So you just gotta be careful that you don't hit that. I've done a great job of not hitting them now. So far, it seems like they're all good shape. But I wanna make sure we don't hit those. Then I'm gonna slide the axles in, slide this end in, slide the other end into the rear axle housing, and then you just take them and you just hammer them on the end of them, and they'll snap into it and they'll go in their place. And once those are in there, then put the wheel bearings on. All right, we got everything cleaned up. Got our axle ends cleaned. Now it's time to put them back in. Real careful on that sensor.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a one-point game. I think it's going to be a really tight one. But back-to-back games on the macro floor, I think that continues. And again, I just keep going back.
Slide it in there.
Aaron Rodgers looked in the last drive and then the 3 drives they had against Minnesota, and how he looked like something in place.
You just kind of rotate it, and you'll feel it fit right into the gears.
Like we saw in 2016,
And then
absolutely carried the team to an NFC Championship play.
what you can do
As a whole, certainly better than that 2016.
is actually go on the end, because there's a little ring on there, and what happens is it will go into the gear.
I'm really curious to see what James says, because I do watch NFL Network from time to time.
And it will go into there, and then that little ring presses inside there, and that ring snaps it into place. And so you just go on the other end, you just push in on the axle, and you tap it, and you can get the seat right in there. Well, guys, starting to put these on here. These are the new wheel bearings. Just put brand new ones on. And got everything anti-seized. Look at how easy they go in and out. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. Well, guys, it's all back together. This thing has been a little hard for me, this project. I actually had to run to town again. I actually kind of messed up, and I had Tracy go in and sit in a car, and I needed her to put it in neutral so I could spin the drive shaft. And I told her to put the brakes on because I was going to be underneath there, so I didn't want to roll forward at all or any chance of it. And she put the brakes on. I didn't have the calipers mounted in, and one of the calipers, the piston came right out. I actually just put these calipers on. I think I just put them on just before the accident, before I broke my back. And so this guy sucks, brand new caliper. I tried getting that piston back in, I couldn't do it. So I had to run to town and buy a new piston. Now it's time to take a test drive, and hopefully the noise is gone. I mean, the only thing in the rear end that could possibly be anything is an axle. If anything makes noise, it's got to be an axle, but everything seems fine. So check it out. All right, let's take off for a test drive, see if the noise is gone. This has been bothering Tracy for a long time. Oh yeah. No more noise.
Oh, that's awesome.
No more growling stuff back there.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And then the deer runs out in front of me and smashes the front of the car. That would be my luck right now. Day I've had. But look at that. Nice and quiet.
Awesome.
Then you can fall asleep while you're driving.
I can watch movies while I'm driving. Kidding.
Kidding.
Sort of.
But there we go.
I like job videos.
That was a big job. Didn't need to be such a big job, but man, those bearings were just horrific. And then I screwed up by having you press on the brakes, so and it popped the piston out in the caliper, so.
Oh my goodness.
Nice and
I'm
quiet.
so excited.
Nice and quiet.
Thank you.
Yep. So basically, this car has been pretty much rebuilt. All you got is that little tink noise.
Yeah, I don't care.
And I mean, I showed you just a bushing back there. I think that's what's making a noise.
I think it's the struts up front.
Could be struts up front too. We could do that later. But yeah, look at that, boys and girls.
Woohoo! Styling. I'm gonna wash it. She's gonna feel all special.
There we go. Well, I'm gonna let you guys go. I hope that everyone out there is having themselves a great day, just like Tracy is.
Yeah.
Except she's late.
Very late.
Yeah, she was supposed to be home a long time ago. If you're not, certainly just try that all over again tomorrow. I will catch you guys later. See ya.